This is Radar for On the Radar Entertainment blog, coming to you with the National League part of the 2021 MLB Trade deadline, which was this past Friday, unlike years being July 31st. This was on July 30th. Thursday, a lot of teams were off. So I did the American League. So if you want to look at the American League, that will be part one in my first video. The second video here is the National League because there's so much going on. There were so many trades. It's like NBA trade deadline, free agency, NFL. So let's start here with the Brewers, who are in first place. They've had some bad luck this year with injuries to Travis Shaw. Daniel Vogelbach got hurt, so there goes those guys. So they've had to use Chase Peterson, and that's okay, he's a utility player. But then they went and got Willy Adames after they traded Orlando Arcia early in the year, and I thought, well, with all these injuries, they could have used Arcia, but he's gone. So they went and get Willy Adames. He's been great. Luis Urias, combination with him has been great in the infield with Colton Wong. So their infield's been pretty good there, those three guys. And they went and got Rowdy Tellez as well. So far, like, those four guys have been pretty good for them as their infield. Keston Hiura had an off year. They went and got Eduardo Escobar. Now, the thing is, they like Luis Urias' versatility. So him and Escobar, their versatility, mixing in when you give Adames Colton Wong the day off, that's going to be helpful. Because Eduardo Escobar has proven he's been a clutch enough, good enough hitter for the Diamondbacks and the Twins that he's reliable. That really helps them out, even though I feel like it's overkill, and Tyrone Taylor could probably use some help as backup outfielders on that team. That's another story. They go and get Daniel Norris and John Curtis. Who's John Curtis? Some Marlins reliever, and we all know, as I mentioned, the first one, Daniel Norris, is a Tigers starting pitcher used as a relief pitcher, opener, middle guy, coming in and eating up innings after the opener. So he's going to give the Brewers some bullpen depth because he can pitch multiple innings. He can spot start, and John Curtis will help with his bullpen until Devin Hernandez comes back because they need some help there because Brad Boxberger has been that great to help Josh Hader. So I'll give the Brewers get a C because Norris and Curtis will help the bullpen out with the injury to their setup man and helps out Josh Hader. But they're relievers, and Eduardo Escobar doesn't help when they like the Adames, Colton Wong, Urias, and right now Rowdy Tellez infield has been pretty good. They probably could have used another outfielder. They could have used another pitcher, even though their top three pitchers have been great. So it's a C because the relievers are and Escobar's overkill. The Reds, who are trying to make the playoffs, acquired Luis Cessa, Justin Wilson, and Michael Givens. Michael Givens was a middle relief pitcher of the Orioles, and after all the trades, he became a closer. Then they dumped him because they were bad on the Rockies, and he's been okay with the Rockies. The Rockies were like, we're bad, we got to get rid of him. So the Yankees gave up on Luis Cessa and Justin Wilson. If the Reds are serious about the playoffs, having two veteran relievers and Michael Givens, Justin Wilson will help out, and Luis Cessa can pitch multiple innings will help out because their bullpen has been injured. So Amir Garrett and Sean Doolittle doesn't do it all by themselves. And for the past couple of years, they've cycled through veteran relievers like Zach Duke, and they've had Heath Embry and other guys in their bullpen this year. So it's like they're just trying the route of veteran relief pitchers just to help them out, and hopefully those three moves help them out going forward, but I highly doubt they're making the playoffs because I feel like the National League is going to have two teams out of the West get the wild card, and I feel like the Cardinals are better. That's why the Cardinals, with Martinez being injured, Jack Flaherty being injured, Dakota Hudson, Jordan Hicks, all of those guys being injured in the rotation has been Wainwright and Kim, and then piecing together, starting games earlier in the year. They got Gallegos, and they've had Reyes be their closer. And so they've been and they've had Wade LeBlanc now start games. So they've pieced together starting pitchers who have been in their bullpen previously, like Daniel Pace-Leon, to name some, and then using Wade LeBlanc and Kim, who was in their bullpen also to start the year as a starting pitcher. So they've done that. So they say, we're going to J-Hap, rental player, say goodbye to John Gant, who's been really useful, the starter, swing man, middle relief pitcher, sometimes, coming in after an opener. And they said goodbye to Lane Thomas to get John Lester, an extra outfielder, and they feel like with Justin Williams, they got enough backup outfielders. They're good. So hopefully Hap, who's been around the block, and John Lester, who's won multiple World Series, will help out this team to eat innings. If those two guys eat innings, along with Wade LeBlanc, then maybe, just maybe, this rotation will actually help them out so Wainwright and Kim don't have to lead this whole entire thing, and they don't have to use some of their young pitchers who in their bullpen pitching well for them as starters. That may help them out. And they got this TJ Zach dude, so whatever. So I'm going to give them a C because Hap is like 40-something, Lester's in his mid to late 30s, and all they're doing is putting a Band-Aid on the fact that their two best pitchers, Martinez and Flaherty, are hurt, and Hicks and Hudson and other guys can't really help them out. So that's a C because they got two pitchers because they needed it, but not that helpful. Then you get the Cubs, who I will give them a B- because they traded Baez, Rizzo. That's the three guys they wanted to trade, but they did the mistake of the Royals teams who made the playoffs and won World Series. Out of the two, they were there. The Phillies team that been 2 World Series that won one. Took a long time to trade pieces before you know it, because then you're looking up like, oh crap, Baez, Rizzo, and Bryant. They're going to be free agents. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Well, they trade Baez and Trevor Williams, a good, useful starting pitcher, to the Mets for a guy with 3 names I never heard of, and I'm a Mets fan, okay? They just had to they wanted to just get rid of them before they became free agents. Then they got 2 prospects from the Yankees for Rizzo. I'm not sure how good the Yankees prospects are after they have a bunch for Joey Gallo, even if those are good for Gallo. When, Rizzo I felt would be a long-time Cub, that he would resign, he would stay there with all the charities and all the things he does. Then with Chris Bryant, that's where you're saying to yourself, okay, maybe Chris Bryant gets themselves something that they always wanted back in return. Now, you're going to say to yourself, what did they get for Chris Bryant? Well, this is what they got for Chris Bryant. They got prospects Alexander Canario and Caleb Killian. So they get themselves 2 prospects for Bryant, 2 prospects for Rizzo, and 1 prospect for Baez and Trevor Williams. I'm like, okay, cool. They got rid of the 3. They wasted their time. So they did what they're supposed to. They traded Jake Marisnick. That's cool. Jake Marisnick was a backup outfielder. He just, they get rid of him. They could play other guys. So that's, whatever. Then they traded Craig Kimbrell and Ryan Tepera and Andrew Chafin. So Andrew Chafin, they really just dumped him because they wanted to dump some relievers because they weren't going anywhere. So you dump veteran relievers when you're not going anywhere at the trade deadline. A's barely gave him anything. The Sox really didn't give anything up for Ryan Tepera. It's really the 2 prospects you got for Rizzo, the 2 prospects you got for Brian, the 1 prospect you got for Baez, and Trevor Williams. If those 5 guys, along with Cody Hoyer and Nick Madrigal, turn out to be good for you, then cool. Nick Madrigal is your replacement for Baez in the infield. Cody Hoyer is your replacement for Tepera, Kimbrell in the bullpen, or Chafin. And whatever those prospects turn out for Rizzo, Bryant, and Baez, we'll place them going forward, because that's the thing there. So, yeah, the Cubs get a B because they traded the 3 core guys. They traded away 3 of their veteran relievers, 1 of their veteran starting pitchers, and Marisnick. I know Arrieta's had a bad year. They could have dumped Arrieta. They could have traded Zach Davey. They probably could have traded Rex Brothers. Any other reliever. Maybe they could have traded Matt Duffy. They could have traded Patrick Wisdom, who's had a amazing time with them. They could have traded anybody, but no. So I give them a B because they traded the guys they needed to. Then the Pirates, who we know are a bad team, they keep trading all their players. So they traded Richard Rodriguez, who was their current closer. Keone Keller was a closer before. Felipe Rivera was a closer before. He's the latest along the line. The Braves go, we need another reliever, so we'll give you some guys. So maybe the Pirates get quality players back from Richard Rodriguez. They traded Clay Holmes and Austin Davis. So cool, we got more relievers. So maybe when Clay Holmes, who the Yankees got, maybe we got something back for it. Maybe the Braves gave something good to Rich Rodriguez. Adam Frazier, the Padres gave us 2 to 3 players, and they got a good farm system that'll help us out. And the Mariners took Tyler Anderson off our hands. So basically, whatever the Mariners gave for Tyler Anderson, the Yankees for Clay Holmes, the Braves for Rodriguez and Adam Frazier, who one of the guys, some of those guys people have heard of, and then Mike Chavis got from, for Austin Davis. Now, Michael Chavis is not going to play third base because they got Key Brian Hayes. They still got Colin Moran. They got Phillip Evans. They got Nikowski. So where's he going to play? Well, now that Frazier's gone, maybe Michael Chavis will play second base for them. But again, he's on a team that also doesn't have a DH spot that's not going to help them. So really what the Pirates were looking for was whatever prospects we got for Rodriguez, Frazier, Holmes, and Tyler Anderson, maybe work out. And Chavis is a nice, controllable young bat, versatile player, because, we have Gonzalez still, maybe second base. So, that's what they did there. So I'm going to give them a C because they did what bad teams do. Trade 2 to 3 relievers and a starting pitcher. And they traded Adam Frazier because I've told you for years, when they had Riddle, Newmer, and Kramer and Gonzalez, and they still got Cole Tucker, they had a log jam of guys in the middle infield, and they opened up a spot by trading Adam Frazier, and Riddle and Kramer are gone, but then you add Chavis to the mix. That's a silly thing. But they did what they're supposed to. You flip Tyler Anderson, you flip Rich Rodriguez, that's what you do. So they get a C because they did what they're supposed to be, but you're not really sure the prospects. And Adam Frazier was their second best player, so there's no point, or slash player, depending on you think about Reynolds. Then you get to the Mets, where the Mets go, okay, we got J.D. Davis, Jeff McNeil, and we got Lindor. Let's get Baez, who's going to be a free agent. Again, the Mets had all these injuries, so they shuffled through utility players and backup outfielders. So getting Baez, he's a good player. So that gives you a B automatically because you get a quality player who's a Gold Glove shortstop and a pretty good hitter. Then you get Trevor Williams because Syndergaard has a setback, DeGrom has a setback, Carrasco just came back, and they got Tejon Walker, Marcus Stroman. You're like, okay, so now we got Stroman and Tejon Walker, Carlos Carrasco, and Trevor Williams, and some young guys because Peterson got hurt. So Williams will help them to get back the starting pitchers they have that are injured in Syndergaard and DeGrom. That will be good. And Baez will help out as shortstop until Lindor comes back, and then you got a situation between J.D. Davis and McNeil. But that just makes the Mets lineup better. It's better to have questions about who you play and who you can't play, and then Trevor Williams helps out their rotation. That's a B. Braves. They went and got Jock Peterson, Jorge Soler, Adam Duvall, and Eddie Rosario. I'm like, cool. Okay, so Ozuna had the domestic thing. And they just got rid of Inciarte. Didn't work out. And they were playing Adrianza and Arcia, infielders in the outfield. And they went to like Phillip Ervin, Almonte, and Heredia, who are either career journeymen, backup outfielders, guys who can't hit. So, and they completely changed their outfield when Acuna got hurt overnight. So the best lineup will be Jock Peterson in center and a combination of Soler and Duvall in the corner spots until Eddie Rosario comes back. So my only question is, there's no DH. And the best thing is to play Jock Peterson in center field because the other center fielders can't hit. So I can say this. You get a B. You get a B plus because you have to redo an outfield due to domestic violence, injuries. And you start over with Jock Peterson, who's a good hitter. Soler is a great hitter. Rosario and Duvall are good hitters. That's a B. That's a B plus there. And you get Stephen Vogt because you've had injuries to your catcher, Darno. And you shuffled through guys like Jonathan Lucroy and Kevin Smith. And Vogt's been an all-star and he's a good hitter. Especially in the National League pitch hitting, that's perfect. Okay? Richard Rodriguez, even though you got Shane Green, Will Smith, and all these other relievers, you go out and get him, okay, cool. You added another guy who can close out games. That's awesome. That's really cool. But then you can say goodbye to your veteran guy, Kung Fu Panda. Okay, that's sad. Then you gave up on the fact that you could have used Alex Jackson as your catcher. I know he got hurt, so did Wilson Contreras' brother, William, but the reason why it's only a B plus is because getting 4 outfielders when you only have room for 3 is stupid. Vogt's quality pickup. Richard Rodriguez is the quality pickup, and giving Alex chances bad. Is that Fried and Soroka have been hurt. It's been relying on Drew Smyly and Charlie Morton and shuffling in guys from the minor league to start games for you. Why didn't the Braves go out and get a veteran pitcher like Jay Happ or John Lester or try to even get Jose Barrio? I don't know why they didn't go out and get Andrew Heaney from the Angels. Why they didn't get Hayes, try to get Tyler Anderson. Everybody's trying to get him in a trade. I don't understand why they didn't get Kyle Gibson in a trade. I don't know why they didn't go out and get Trevor Williams from the Cubs or Zach Davies from the Cubs. That's where I'm questioning what they did there because there was definitely enough starting pitchers, even Danny Duffy from the Royals. Definitely enough pitchers that you could have got for absolutely small peanuts just to be in the rotation so it's not just Drew Smyly, Charlie Morton, and a bunch of young guys. Getting a Pirates closer is overkill when your bullpen's been good, and getting 4 outfielders when you only need 3 is overkill. That's why it's a B plus because they got quality players that just didn't get a starter. Then if you look at the Phillies, who are still in the playoff hunt, Kyle Gibson helps out this rotation, so it's not just Nola and Zach Wheeler, and Eflin's been a little bit hurt because Matt Moore and Chase Anderson not been that good. So Gibson will help solidify the back spot of this rotation, and their bullpen's been on the worst in baseball, so Ian Kennedy, who's been surprisingly okay as a relief pitcher, will help out the bullpen. Freddie Galvis makes no sense because they got a set infield of Bohm and Gregorius Segura, and they have a bunch of backup infields like Brad Miller on this team and Luke Williams. So it's just a cherry on top for them. They did give up prospects, including Spencer Howard, but the Phillies are trying to make the playoffs. So getting a back-end starter and a relief pitcher that will help them out when their bullpen's been bad gives them a B plus. Gibson is not a top-line starter. Kenny's not a top-line closer. Galvis seems stupid. So that's why it's a B plus, because they're the correct move, but not the best move. Then the Nationals tore everything down. They traded Mad Max Scherzer, Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, John Lester, Brad Hand, Daniel Hudson, Yan Gomes, and Josh Harrison. So I'm going to say for a team that just won the World Series a couple of years ago, had a disappointing season last year during COVID, and this year they've had a disappointing season because Strasburg, throughout the surgery, he's out for the year. Their bullpen hasn't been that great. Schwarber was good for them, got hurt. The whole domestic thing with Starlin Castro. Josh Bell has been good for them. So what they said, with all these injuries, might as well tear it down. So I understand Mad Max, potential free agency, not wanting to come back because he's getting up there in age. I understand that. Schwarber was a rental. They signed him for a one-year deal. So was Lester, Brad Hand. Hudson, he could have another year of control. And Yan Gomes, they brought him back this past year. They kept Josh Harrison. So here's the thing. I get trading guys who could be free agents this year and next year. Harrison, Gomes, Hudson, Hand, Lester, Schwarber, Mad Max. Those all make sense. I don't understand the Trey Turner thing. Trey Turner is your best player not named Juan Soto. You've already seen Bryce Harper leave. You're already seeing Anthony Rendon leave. And they're like, okay, they both left and we got nothing. So we got to get something. So they got something. So I'm happy for them that they got something because you don't want to get nothing. Okay, fine, you got nothing. So basically, whatever the Cardinals gave you for John Lester, Lane Thomas, and some other guys, cool. Extra outfielders, some young guys. Whatever the Blue Jays gave you for Brad Hand, that's cool. That's cool. Whatever the Padres gave you, Daniel Hudson, they got good systems too. Whatever the A's gave you for Yan Gomes, Josh Harrison, good. It's what the Dodgers gave back for Trey Turner, who, they realized they weren't going to resign him, and they probably weren't going to resign Mad Max Scherzer. They got Josiah Gray and Keibert Ruiz, two of the best prospects in the Dodgers system, plus other prospects, and Raleigh Adams, a prospect from the Blue Jays. So basically, when you get three top prospects and all these trades and a backup outfielder, Lane Thomas, and more prospects, you're like, the Nationals came out with an A. They traded Mad Max, John Lester, Brad Hand, Daniel Hudson, Yan Gomes, Josh Harrison, Kyle Schwarber, all potential free agents or the next year, and Trey Turner leaving, and they get boatloads of prospects to start over from the Dodgers, the Red Sox. You add what they get, the Cardinals, and what the Blue Jays, the Padres, and the A's give. So that's an A there. I forgot to mention this because I'm really, really all over the place here. I forgot to mention what the Blue Jays did at this trade deadline. I know that's the American League. I'll get to it. The Blue Jays went and got Jose Barrios, the Twins' best pitcher, and gave up prospects. They think they can make the playoffs this year like they did last year and next year. So Barrios is a move for this year and next year, so that's a quality thing because that's a quality pitcher, and their rotation doesn't have that many amazing starting pitchers that you're like, okay, cool. Jones used their ace, but it's like that's a helpful move. Getting Joakim Soria is good because their bullpen has injuries to all their guys. So getting Soria in hand, two veteran closers, potential relievers for them, when they lost their closer and all the other relievers this year to injuries, that's a plus. Then you go out and get Adam Simber to help the bullpen out earlier in the year, and Dickerson to help the outfield out, potential DH. Yeah, they say goodbye to Rowdy Tellez, Joe Panic, Joe Pompeios, TJ Zuck. That's fine. Riley Adams does the thing. In order to get top quality pitcher Barrios, veteran relievers Brad Hand, in particular, you got to give up somebody. So the Nationals now have two catching prospects, Adams and Ruiz, and all they give was Brad Hand. That's cool. And Trey Turner, Max Scherzer. So I'm going to the Blue Jays an A- because Barrios is not just a great move for this year. It's a good move for next year. Soria and Brad Hand and Simber help solidify the bullpen, and Dickerson's helpful. And yeah, you gave some prospects up for Riley Adams and Barrios. That's what I'm saying. But the Blue Jays have to get past the Red Sox and the Rays, and potentially they're not going to be a playoff team this year. And the Yankees are trying to make the playoff. The A's and the Astros and the Mariners think to playoff race. So I feel like it's a little bit too crowded for the Blue Jays to make the playoffs this year. Why? It's an A-. It's not an A because it's going to help them that year and they're going to make the playoffs. But going forward, having Jose Barrios on your team is going to be good. I'm not sure if they're going to keep Soria in hand, but it's an A- because they got relievers they needed relievers, and they got a top of the tier starting rotation to help out Ryu. That's perfect. They did what they're supposed to do. Congratulations to them, but they're not making the playoffs. That's why it's an A-. Then we get back to National League. The Marlins say goodbye to Adam Duvall, Martin Dickerson this year, the whole starting outfield. Good. They're not going anywhere. Might as well do that. Say goodbye to Simber earlier, John Curtis, Yimi Garcia. They got rid of 3 relief pitchers, and they get Alex Jackson back, a catcher, to go potentially with, Alfaro. They got veteran infielder Panic, whoop-de-doo, and they got Pruitt and some other pitchers from the Astros. And the real thing is they got Luzardo. The Marlins get a B because they know they weren't going anywhere, so they traded their whole starting outfield and 3 of their veteran relief pitchers and got a young catcher back, got some extra pitchers from the Astros, and they got Luzardo from the 8. So they're going forward. Alex Jackson and Luzardo will be important. Some of the Astros guys, not so much. But they knew they weren't going to keep the guys, so that's why it's a B. I just felt they could have traded more relief pitchers, maybe some other starting pitchers, but, trading 3 outfield relievers and getting back 2 prospects, 2 young players could be prospects is good. Then you got the Giants who just traded for Tony Watson and Chris Bryant. They don't care which 2 prospects they gave up for Bryant and the 1 for Watson. They are in the first place. They got to fight off 2 teams in their division, the Dodgers and the Padres. And Longoria's been hurt. So, we need Chris Bryant's bat in the lineup, and we need Tony Watson back, who was with us last year, to improve this bullpen. So they get a B+ because they fixed third base, they fixed the bullpen. I would have maybe got another starting pitcher because their pitcher's been bubblegum and, glue and, paper clips because, no offense to Stefani, Alex Wood, Kevin Gausman, Aaron Sanchez, those guys are on the team for a reason. Nobody wanted those guys, okay? And Cueto's old. But that's why it's not an A. Dodgers getting Max Muncy, Trey Turner, and Danny Duffy is perfect because Kershaw's hurt right now and you lost May for the year. So if you have a rotation every day and Bauer with a whole domestic violence, so they've lost 2 important guys. So if your rotation in the playoffs is Walker Buehler, Mad Max Scherzer, Clayton Kershaw, and either David Price or Tony Gonsolin or Danny Duffy, that's not bad. That you now have Price and Gonsolin and Duffy that would be competing for the 4th spot in the rotation for the playoffs. And I know that Corey Seager is back and healthy, and you have Gavin Lux, who's been good for you. You got both Turner and Max Muncy. You got Chris Taylor. You got all these infielders. But potentially an infield of Trey Turner, Corey Seager, Justin Turner, and Max Muncy. Sorry, Gavin Lux, that's pretty good. And Trey Turner just adds to the lineup. That's the cool thing. And because Corey Seager's going to be a free agent, and he's always been hurt, you can look for the Dodgers to try to convince